What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today we're joined by Masta Ace. Thank you for coming through, sir.
What up, man? Thank you.
Yes, always a pleasure. And you also have a new project with Marco Polo.
Yeah.
So, what's the genesis of this project?
It's called A Breukelen Story, the name of the album, and it tells the story of Marco Polo, a producer who was born in Toronto, Canada, who moved to Brooklyn back in 2001, and with this dream of becoming a hip hop producer. He wanted to come to New York and chase his dream to be a hip hop producer. He worked for no money at a studio, the cutting room, and was an intern, and eventually he handed me a CD. I would happen to be there working with some other projects. Some little white kid comes up to me, yo, I make beats, and gave me a CD. And I went home, listened to it, and I was like, this kid actually is pretty good. And that moment that he handed me that CD, which was probably 2003, to today, it's come full circle. We did a song called Nostalgia together, which is all over the internet, 8 million views on YouTube. He produced a song on my Long Hot Summer album with a joint with Big Noid called Do It Man. We did a few other little records together, but those few little moments that we worked together had fans around the world clamoring for this project together. We want to hear you guys do more stuff. Nostalgia was so great. Why don't you do a whole project? And so we were just waiting for our schedules to make sense where we could both just commit the time to do it. And we finally found that time, last winter. And now here we are, summer 2018, about to be winter 2018, and the album drops November 9th.
Okay. And then you had told me about the song with Pharoah Monch.
Yeah.
So explain what the song's about.
It's called Fight Song. And for those that aren't familiar, I announced through you actually, I don't know how many years ago it was now, 4 maybe years ago, I announced that I was diagnosed with MS. But the diagnosis happened years ago, 2000. But I just held on to that. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want anybody to know. And so about 4 years ago, I talked about it and made it public knowledge, and now everybody knows that I have this disease. So I decided to make this song called Fight Song, which is Pharoah Monch is actually rapping as the disease. It's like a battle between him as the disease and me as the person who has it, and we battle on record. He's telling me everything he's going to do to me to break me down and kill me and this and that, and I'm going back at him on my verse and how I'm still standing. You ain't going whatever. So just a really unique song, and I have to give Paul Barman, for cats that are familiar with my album Disposable Arts. Paul Barman is a character from the skits on that album. He's actually a real person, a real MC, who has a project out right now. And Paul is the one who gave me the idea for that song.
Okay.
He just called me up one day and said, Ace, I think you should do a song. I think it'd be cool if you do a song where you're rapping, like battling against MS as another MC. And I think when he approached me with the idea, he thought maybe he would be the other MC. I was like, I don't know yet, Paul. Let me reach out to a few people. And Pharoah was just a guy I knew he was gonna just knock it out the box, and man, he killed it. He killed it.
Mm-hmm. And then how does that fit into the Breukelen Story?
It doesn't fit in at all, actually.
Okay.
It's the last. That's why we put it. It's the last song on the album, so it's not connected to the story in any way. But the rest of the songs all are cohesively connected and help tell the story. But that last song is just the last joint on the album.
Okay. And then what do you think that you do well on this album that you've learned from some of your other conceptual projects that you've applied specifically?
Well, what I wanted to do on this album, because I feel like with these other writing projects coming up that I'm going to be doing less music after this project, after we work this for a couple years on the road. And I'm going to be really putting more time into this musical and to these other ideas, the screenplay and the TV pilot. So what I wanted to do on this album was really get off some more bars, like just kind of like go in on some joints, because I do so many concept songs. Every song is about something. There's a topic, there's a subject, there's a this, there's that. And very few songs on my last few albums where I'm really just rhyming, just going in, just saying bars, just spitting joints. So I said I want to do that on this album a little bit more than I did on previous albums. And so I was able to do that and kind of get that off a little bit. So I got a joint with Elzai where we just going in, just going in, me and Styles P, just going in, just rhyming. And a few other joints where I'm just rhyming, just going in, just rhyming. Joint with Evidence, just going in, rhyming. And so yeah, that's what it is. That's what I wanted to do on this project that was different than the others.
And then you also, just from the guest list, that's artists from a lot of different places around the country.
Yeah.
So why do you think you in particular have been able to connect with so many people of different styles, different cities, different states, with obviously Born to Roll being the biggest project? How do you think you've been able to sustain this interest when most people would be like, oh, you need to be on the radio? You're very atypical in that regard.
I call that finding your lane.
Okay.
You know, you got to find your lane. You got to find where you fit in this big scheme of things with being music. And when you find that lane, just ride that lane, man. Like do everything you can in that lane. And that's what I've done. A lot of other artists are in the same lane as me, but they're not willing to do the things that I do. They're not willing to tour 200 days out of the year. They're not willing to come off stage and sign autographs for 300 people. They're not willing to stand at the merch table and help sell your own merchandise. And I've just kind of figured out where I fit in this thing, and I've just done a good job of maximizing it.
Okay. And then as you're progressing, how do you feel whenever you do approach music again? Are you going to be interspersing that into your other writing projects, like the screenplay or obviously the musical, but how are you going to integrate them?
I think with the screenplay, I think this is more of just kind of me telling my story, but in movie form.
Okay.
But the musical is really telling the story of the characters that are on my albums from really, I would say it's loosely based on the stories on Disposable Arts, A Long Hot Summer, The Falling Season, and M.A. Doom, Son of Yvonne.
Okay.
Within those 4 projects, if you're familiar with all 4 of those, then you'll be familiar with some certain moments in the musical will sound familiar to you. You'll remember those moments from those albums. Masta Ace, Marco Polo, A Breukelen Story, November 9th. Get that. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, Facebook page, at Masta Ace on Twitter, at Masta Ace Pics on Instagram, Masta Ace Official on Facebook, at Marco Polo Beats, everywhere.
There it is, y'all. Master Ace, Soren Baker, Unique Access.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence, thanks to gangster rap.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.